One misconception that people have about full-time artists is that we must spend all day making art. But today I only have an hour and a half, and honestly, that's more than I've had all week. So I'm going to get started on this portrait and take you along for the ride. I am going to draw this face a little bit larger. So what I usually begin with is a circle that would describe this part of the head. While I'm doing this, I'm thinking about like overall composition. Do I have enough space for that hair behind? Yeah, I do. Do I have enough space for the hair on top? Yeah. Okay, and then if it's going to be about this big, he's looking over this way. We've got kind of the midline coming through here. So this area in my drawing is a little bit confusing, and some of these shadows end up blurring out a lot of the information, and that's pretty normal with a printed photograph. So I actually have my iPad on my desk as well. Having the iPad on my desk allows me to use the information that I have in both sources and to optimize which one each is best for. So I'm going to try to just lock in where the features might go. This is very rough and dirty right now, and really the goal is just to get something on the page to respond to. I like to look at the angles here, like is that a vertical or is it on an angle? It's on a slight angle. How much space is between the nose and the cheek? Those are just little tiny things that I am asking myself as I work. But I'm not worried about making everything just right just yet. That's really not the goal of this initial block-in. I use initial block-ins to make the rest of the drawing easier. It's where I establish the foundation, I think about the composition, and I make sure that the overall layout feels right. I intentionally move pretty quickly during this stage because it keeps me zoomed out both physically and mentally, and it keeps me focused on the drawing as a whole. This feels like a really natural part of my process now, but it definitely didn't used to. I still remember how uncomfortable it felt to focus on placement and proportions instead of the details. It took a lot of practice and a lot of trust to get to the point where I can see the potential for a polished portrait in a rough layout like this. Looking back now, I realize that this was just the first of many moments where I really had to trust the process and myself. This portrait seriously threw me for a few loops over the next 4 days. I'm about 15 minutes in, and so far I have my layout nearly complete. Now I'm coming in and refining those details, and I'm using an erasable colored pencil, so I'm not locked into anything that I've got on my page. During the school year, I usually have 5 or 6 hours a day to work, but that time is rarely spent entirely drawing. A lot of it goes into filming lessons, editing videos, answering emails, and everything else that comes with this job. But in the summer, this time is cut significantly. My kids are home and I spend most of my time with them instead. That means that every hour I get to spend drawing is incredibly valuable, which is exactly why I was hoping to nail these proportions as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, this portrait had other plans. Something about this portrait is harder than normal. Now, that might be that it's been a minute since I've laid out a portrait, so I'm a little rusty. It might have to do with these large oversized glasses, and it's throwing off my ability to nail the proportions accurately the first time, but I'm gonna give myself permission to slow down a little bit here. I'm acknowledging that this one is harder, and it's just gonna take a little bit more time than I expected. Sometimes when I've got a lot going on like this, I need to just remove some of the information and come back in fresh. I can still see what I've done. I can still see my measurements, but it's a lot lighter so that when I come in with new marks, I don't have to press really hard to be able to see them and to have them fight over the noise. When I'm drawing portraits, my first goal is to just make the portrait look human. Then I want the pose and perspective to feel believable. But the hardest and by far the longest part of the portrait process for me is capturing a likeness. This means that I'm not just making someone look human, but I'm making them feel like themselves. And that's where I was really fighting this portrait. this needs to come out a bit. Do I need more space here? That's kind of the thing I've been running into. Do I have enough space for the ear? This portrait is not making it easy. I have drawn it once, I have drawn it twice, and now I'm going to take the kneaded eraser over the top of it and then go after it one more time. This is kind of the process. Sometimes I draw it and I find the mistakes, and then I draw it and find the mistakes. And I think that that's important for you guys to see, that not everything that I sit down and draw is immediately perfect. Sometimes the process is really tricky and there really isn't an explanation as to why. Sometimes you need to draw it twice and you nail it. Sometimes you need to draw it 5 or 6 times. But notice that I'm not like crumpling everything up and throwing it away. That isn't part of my process either. I stick with it as long as I can. And I know that there are a lot of right things going on in the drawing, even though I see some mistakes. When we first begin drawing portraits, the mistakes are usually pretty obvious. A crooked eye, a nose that's too big, or features that just don't line up. But as we improve, the mistakes get much smaller, and we have to train our eyes to find them. In the third line drawing, that's exactly what I'm searching for. Those tiny adjustments, the millimeter here or there, that takes this from looking like a generic person to actually looking like him. And I don't want you to get me wrong. This isn't about being overly critical of my work. My self-talk is actually usually quite positive. This process is all about knowing that each pass is going to get me a little bit closer. And as you gain more experience, it doesn't mean that you stop making mistakes. It means that you recognize your mistakes sooner and you know that they're fixable. I've been drawing now for about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, and I've been able to solidify my composition, lay out my proportions, and get everything feeling a lot more accurate. Oh, there's my alarm. That means it's time to go. But when I come back, I'm gonna come into this piece with some value and start really getting some colored pencil on the page, which I'm so excited for. We're on to day 2 for this portrait. I'm planning on working monochromatically. So I took some time to pick out a bunch of green colored pencils. The first few marks on a white surface like this when I'm adding value are so scary. They always are, even though I've done this a million times. It's a big aggressive move to come in and start adding value onto white paper. Today, the drawing process feels completely different. It's faster, and for the first time, it's becoming 3-dimensional. As frustrating as it was to spend so much time on the line drawing yesterday, I'm really grateful that I didn't rush it or settle for good enough, because now I am building on a foundation that I actually trust, and that makes this stage so much more enjoyable. If you've been around my channel for a while, you probably already know that laying in shadow shapes is one of my favorite parts of the entire drawing process. It's that moment where a flat drawing finally starts to feel like it has volume and form. And I've made quite a few videos about shadow shapes over the years. So if you want to dive deeper into that process, I'll link a few of my favorites below and at the end of this video. I had a little less than an hour to work yesterday, so now I'm on day 3, still working on this portrait, just little bits at a time. And today I wasn't very excited to get in my studio and draw, but I did have some time and I decided I had to be in here. I had to do what I could during the time that I had. One thing I've realized over the years is that showing up is often the hardest part. Waiting until you feel motivated or inspired is actually a really unreliable way to build an art practice. Because some days I can't wait to get into the studio, but there are other days when I'm tired, distracted, or just not in the mood. I've learned that feeling excited isn't a requirement for doing meaningful work. More often than not, the motivation shows up after I've already started. One thing that helps me stay disciplined is giving myself a challenge or a specific problem to solve. Instead of sitting down and thinking I should probably practice something today, I give myself something interesting to figure out. For this portrait, that challenge was working with a monochromatic green palette without letting the portrait feel sick or Hulk-like. This forced me to make much more intentional decisions about how I used the green, and before long, I wasn't thinking about whether I felt like drawing anymore. I was completely absorbed in solving the problem. So I'm sitting down day 4 and getting ready to work. I have had a little bit of a harder time than normal working, and I mentioned that earlier, but I think one of the things that is happening is currently Salt Lake City, where I live, has a really big fire. And so it's very cloudy, it's very grim, and it definitely impacts my mood and my energy levels when the air quality is bad, but also when something important to me is burning. And I think being aware of where your energy levels are and how that impacts your work is important, but doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop everything entirely just because you're feeling off. Sometimes coming back to your work can be really helpful and can kind of help regulate and reset, even though it's hard to get into it. Today, I'm focused on making the decisions that will ultimately finish this piece. Because I trust the structure underneath, I'm not so much worrying about all the tiny proportional relationships. Instead, my attention is shifting to questions like, where do I want people to look, and where do I want the portrait to quietly fade away? I'm still using my photo reference to check proportions and values, but as the drawing develops, I find myself looking at the reference less and the drawing more. I'm no longer asking, what does the photo say? I'm asking, what does the drawing need? And I think that that's one of my favorite moments in any piece. It's that point where the drawing stops being a copy of the photograph and starts becoming its own work of art. One of the hardest things about finishing a drawing is that after staring at it for hours, you stop seeing it objectively. After my drawing session on day 4, I ended up stepping away from this piece for 3 days. When I came back, I immediately noticed things that I hadn't been able to see before. There's nothing magic about 3 days, that's just what worked for my schedule. Even taking 10 minutes to get up, stretch, or work on something else can really help you come back to your work with fresh eyes. During the last few moments of a drawing, my role as an artist starts to shift. Early on, I'm trying to understand the subject, but by the end, I'm trying to understand the drawing. At this stage, I'm not really adding information anymore. I'm deciding what deserves attention and what should quietly fade away. Sometimes that means softening edges, muting color, or even covering up details that took a long time to create. At this point, I really thought I was finished, but as I turned off the camera and stepped back, I noticed a couple of things that I wanted to change. And what I thought would be 1 or 2 tiny adjustments turned into another 15 minutes of quiet, almost invisible decisions. This portrait reminded me that developing your skills and your confidence in drawing doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes anymore, but instead that you begin to understand and trust that the mistakes that you do make are fixable. In this portrait, there were moments where I wanted it to move faster, moments where I questioned my decisions, and moments where I didn't even feel like sitting down to draw. But every time I decided to show up, I learned something. And I think that's what finishing a portrait really takes. Not just technical skill, but patience, curiosity, and enough trust to keep going even when the drawing doesn't look the way you hoped. If this way of thinking about drawing resonates with you, I've linked a few free resources below that explore some of the ideas behind this portrait. Things like shadow shapes, value, and color. And if you're looking for a more structured way to build those skills, I've also included information about the Color Lab, where I guide artists through these concepts in much greater depth.